Just let me hear some of that rock and roll music.
This is Katie with Vintage and Vinyl. I'll be spinning some rockin' 50s records every week here on my channel, as well as sharing some cool Coca-Cola collectibles and other neat vintage finds. Stay tuned. This is a very exciting day, guys. I am in my car and I have my gloves and my mask on, and I am ready to hit the antique stores for the first time in what seems like forever. And right behind me is my favorite antique store, Avonlea. It's a very big warehouse, so there's lots of room to social distance, and I feel like it is safe now. So today I am going in and I can't wait to show you what I find. So stay tuned for the haul. Hey guys, this is Katie with Vintage and Vinyl, back with another great video for you today. In this video, I finally get to share an antique haul. Woohoo! I'm so excited. You guys cannot believe how much this means to me. And I know that probably sounds a little bit crazy, but once you have been stuck in your house for 2 months, you just want to go out. And this is the thing that I have missed most, is antiquing. So this was a very exciting day. I thought about it for a long time, and I decided that this one antique store in town would be perfect because it's about the size of a warehouse, and I called ahead and everybody had to wear masks and gloves, and it's so big that you can easily social distance. The aisles are very wide, the booths are very big, so you can easily dart out of the way if somebody's coming, and I just think that it worked out really well. Of course, I went on a Tuesday in the middle of the afternoon where there's literally nobody, so it was just perfect for me. Now, I still am, of course, being extremely careful where I go. I'm not back out at the grocery stores totally yet. I'm not totally integrating back into normal life, but I am being extremely careful. But I do feel like this was a totally safe choice, and I'm glad that I went for my sanity because I really needed a good trip to the antique store. This was just fun, and I found a lot of great things, and I can't wait to share them with you. So the first item I got is a gold mold record canister. Now this is the record that would go on the Thomas Edison invented record players, and this is just a little cardboard canister. I believe it to be from the 1900s. The last patent on this container was from 1904. I don't know exactly when they started making these. I am going to do some more research on that and find out, but I did see a wonderful movie. I believe it was called The Current War, and it was mainly about the start of electricity with Thomas A. Edison and Tesla, and the kind of battle that they went through to invent electricity. And the movie really talked about who really did invent electricity. So it's a fascinating movie, and I do think that you guys should see it, especially since we're all home right now. You guys might have some time. But it did talk about record players, and it showed Edison's first record player, and then it had these tubes. So after I saw that movie, I was really inspired to find one of these in the wild because I love records and I love music history, so I wanted to get one of these tubes. And I already have one, but this one has the lid. So I thought that that was super wonderful because my other one doesn't. You don't find these a lot with the lids, in my experience. And what's cool is this has a sticker that seems to be original because the patina matches the patina on the cardboard canister, and it says 35 cents. So that is very cool. Although I don't know if 35 cents would have been something that was regularly priced that way in the 1900s, so I'm not sure. I'm going to have to do some more research. But the inside does have the canister, or the record itself. This is the canister and here's the record. But you can see that these are easily damaged. The grooves are very small, and a lot of times you find them with dings and scratches. Now, that's okay for me because I'm just collecting it, but if you're a record player aficionado and you collect those, you'll want to definitely check and make sure these are playable. Now, on the record itself, it says that it has band down under and then brandy wine melody on it. So I think that's the name of the songs. It's right up at the top. You guys can probably see that there. It's really, really a cool piece just to pick up. Again, they're not worth a whole lot of money. So it's not something that if you're a reseller that you find one of these and resell for like $30. Of course, I'm sure there's exceptions to this rule, but most of the time they're like $3 or $4. But they're really cool. This one says Edison Laboratory, Orange, New Jersey, and it says under patents of Thomas A. Edison, and it of course says that it's made at the Edison Laboratory. And then it has a bunch of patents on it, and then down at the bottom it has Thomas A. Edison's, you know, little signature going around there. So this is very cool. Again, just a neat piece to have by the record player. Now the next piece I picked up is this really beautiful Vaseline glass piece, or uranium glass. And I don't know the maker. It looks very Art Deco to me. If you look at the edge here up at the top, it's scalloped, but it isn't scalloped, so I'm not sure what you would call that. And it has this just lovely design with the ribbons going around the outside and the bows. It's just stunning, and it has kind of a snowflake pattern on the bottom. So I don't know if this is something that was put out during the winter time or what, I don't know, but it's so gorgeous, and I love Vaseline glass, and it does glow. Now I'm going to try to show you this with the lights on. I don't know if it will work, but yeah, let's see. Can you guys see that there? Yeah, I mean, it's glowing. Yeah, there you go. It's definitely glowing. And what's crazy about this piece, you guys, is I put this by the windowsill. Now, if you saw my last video on depression glass, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But people would put this in the windowsills at night because it would glow and it would be a natural light. They didn't have to light a candle. And I really wanted to test that theory out for myself. And you guys, it worked. I put it by the window about dusk and it started glowing on its own. It was so crazy. I don't know what makes it glow exactly at that time, but something about the light does. It was so cool. So if you have any at home, it is worth the experiment because it's really fun. Now, uranium glass was made in the 1830s. That's when they really started using it as a way, the uranium anyway, as a way to color the glass. And then in the 1950s, it sort of came back into style because during the war, they banned the use of uranium, especially not for people to use at home, like if they already had a piece, but just in the commercial settings, you couldn't get uranium. So the glass kind of went out of style, and then in the 50s it came back and was pretty popular. So I don't know the date of this piece. It seems very thin, very much Depression era to me, but I'm not exactly sure. I could not find this pattern online. I did a lot of research. Even Google Lens tried to help out, and I did my best with Google Lens, but sometimes it's funky, and it pulled up symbols when I took a picture of this. So it obviously thought that I needed to be a drummer in a band instead of a aficionado on glass. But anyway, I love this piece, and I think that it's just beautiful. So it looks great in my bathroom. I've started a green collection of glass in there, and it just matches perfectly. So I love this piece. And if you guys know the pattern or anything about this, please leave a comment down below because I'm really interested to find out more. Now the next piece I was really excited to find is a piece of Fostoria. You guys know I love my Fostoria, and this is a piece of yellow amber glass. It's a compote dish, depression glass. And it has this beautiful etched pattern. This is the June pattern here that Fostoria made. And it's just absolutely lovely. And I have moved some things around in my house because I've had some extra time. And I put this in the center of my big island. And it is so great, you guys, because the light comes in from the window and hits it, and it just sparkles. It's so beautiful. You just can't beat those old glass pieces. They're just absolutely stunning. Now, Fostoria was founded in 1887, and in the 70s it was bought by the Lancaster Colony Company, and then it closed in the 80s. So this piece is definitely vintage, definitely depression glass, and really, really cool. So the next and last piece I want to share with you is a bottle. Now, I love bottles, and I love poison bottles. I've been kind of interested in them. The texture on the outside of the bottles are really cool. And this poison bottle here has that texture. It says not to be taken. It's this beautiful green glass bottle. It has the tooled lip there. And I am in love with this. Now, I have been searching for a poison bottle for a while, simply because most of them have the liquid inside, and I have pets at home, and things do break. Things do get knocked off by accident, you know, and I do keep things safely in the far back of the counter, but in case it were to spill, I don't want any medicine or substance that could be harmful, you know, to my pets, because those old chemicals can be really kind of harsh. So I'm careful about that, and I finally found my first poison bottle that was empty, so I was very excited about that. And of course the green glass is cool. Now, it's not poison like we're poisoning humans or doing anything shady. It actually is poison because for humans it would be bad, but for animals and plants it would be totally safe. And farmers would come into the pharmacies to actually get this from the pharmacist, but of course back then they didn't have electricity, so a lot of times they'd be reaching on the shelves, feeling the texture on the bottle to know whether or not it was the right one. And this texture obviously would mean, ooh, stay away, that's poison, don't give as a medicine to a human. So they did use these for vermin and of course crops and other types of plants. And this bottle here is kind of hard to date because there's so many of them like it, but I am going to tell you what I'm kind of thinking and show you why. So when you look at a bottle, you first want to look at its mold seam. Now, I don't know if it will show up, but there's a mold seam that runs from the lip of the bottle here all the way down to the base. When you see a mold seam like that, you know that the bottle is 1900s to present day. Now, the second thing you want to look at is the top. Does it have a screw top? Because if it has a screw top, it's definitely newer. Now, there are older screw tops, but they're not fully threaded, so they just have little undulations, and those are usually, I think they were made for whiskey back in the day. I'll have to look that up again, but they're not usually typically medicine bottles. Of course, from about 1920 onward is when they started using those screw tops. So these older bottles have either a cork or a glass insert, and that's one way, of course, you can tell that a bottle is older. Now, they did do some reproductions of these in the 70s, so you want to look out for that, but definitely check the mold seam and the top. Now, there's another thing that's interesting about poison bottles, and it's just neat to know that in 1829, New York City was the first city to make it mandatory that people emboss poison, do not to be taken. I can't get that right. Not to be taken, or have the skull and crossbones on the bottle. So New York was the first city to do that. And then in 1853, the Pharmacy Association actually made it mandatory across the board that everybody do that. So that might also help you date a bottle. And now on the bottom, this bottle here says that it's 8 ounces, 415B, and it has a very off-center embossed circle. Let's see if that shows up there. Yeah, you can kind of see that. It might be a little bit hard, but it doesn't have a Pontel mark on the bottom, so it's not hand blown. Of course, I talked about the mold seam, so it's definitely molded, but it's just a really beautiful piece of glass. And the lip up here is tooled, so that means that it's rolled over. It's got this nice rolled edge here, and if you get a bottle book, you can look these bottles up. Now, I did look this one up in the 2 bottle books I have, and I couldn't find this particular one because there were so many not to be taken bottles in 8 ounces, and they were all green. So there's no pictures, and of course, if you had pictures, that book would be like this thick. But it is hard to kind of tell exactly how old. But my guess, just because of the mold seam and the way that the top is, I would say that it has to be 1900s to 1920s because it does not have the screw cap. So this is a relatively older bottle, and it's just really neat, and I'm glad to find my first poison bottle. I think that's so cool, and hopefully I'll find more in the future, and I'll keep adding to my green glass collection. So I hope you found this video interesting, and I hope you shared in my excitement about going antiquing again. This, guys, was just a blast. I just needed it. It was so good for the soul. And I hope you guys have a great week. So for now, stay in, stay safe, and binge YouTube.
That's why I go for that rock and roll music. Any old